So you guys have been sending me these videos for years, looking for a reaction. It looks like it's time to finally break this down. I've actually taken one clip on my Instagram of the Maasai tribe. And these guys, man, they just got bounced. This is literally what they do for a living. Like so I believe, don't quote me on this, I'm not an anthropologist or nothing, but I believe that the highest jumper gets like their pick of whatever girl they want, which is kind of how it works in America too with the NBA. The highest jumpers get their pick. But these people are just insane with their reactive ability. I broke down one guy, I think is the highest one that I've seen. He had a 3.8 RSI. RSI is if you just take the flight time divided by the ground contact time, which is way more important than vertical jump, by the way. If you guys are impressed by like, 40-inch vertical, RSI carries over better to actual sports like basketball because you're showing me how high you can get, but how quick you can do it. So like when we have ground contact time restrictions, RSI really matters. And let's not get it twisted. I still got a 3.8 myself. Some would argue that I could hit a 4. I probably could hit a 4 if I stopped eating ice cream for a couple weeks. But I'm doing it with a little arm swing. They're doing it holding like sticks or something. They're holding some in their hands so they don't get the same arm swing. So the best Maasai jumper actually probably is more elastic than me. That's just spring, man. That's just spring. It's interesting to see when you look at these guys, same tribe, same exercise, right? They don't, in America, we have like this jumper trains like this and that jumper trains like that. And this guy does this and then this guy doesn't train at all. And so we have all these theories about different exercise, but these people, similar genes and similar training, similar environment, yet we see that they're drastically different in their mechanics. It's pretty cool how different people can come up with different movement solutions for the same task, even though they got the same genetics and the same training experience. Like this person is like, let me try to pause at the right time. Look at the toe out. He's got the toe out, making the V, and just springy. This next guy comes up and he's pretty similar. He's got the V foot. The narrow feet, like this, they don't have this typical like hip width, shoulder width. Just springy, man. Look at the short ground contact. They're just slapping the floor, man. They're slapping the floor. This isn't one of these sloppy ground contacts. Let me sink down into my joints, which can be cool for things like depth jumps. But man, this is athleticism. When you can just come down and just tap the floor and just spring, that's athleticism, man. Their Achilles are just made of rubber bands. I'm willing to bet that they get a frequent exposure to this. I'm willing to bet that they probably have less Achilles problems than we have in America. So don't be afraid to jump. Don't be afraid of doing stuff like this. Say, humans could do that? Interesting. How can I very gradually, progressively get to that point? Right? Day after day, how can I gradually progress? Don't run from it. We don't run from stress. We attack it. But you got to be very gradual in how you attack it. This guy, toes forward, split stance. He's in the split stance. People accomplish the same task with different mechanics. It's awesome to see. Man. This guy is the valgus goat. Look at, he's probably going to do it again. Look at, what? Look at, not so much there. Oh, can I pause at the right time? Look at the valgus collapse. Oh my goodness, right there. So we're looking at this guy on my left, on his right. Pronation from the feet, internal rotation at the hips. The knees are diving in. Now, a lot of times we talk about internal rotation versus valgus. So sometimes You see a player like Jordan or like a new guy coming up that does this a lot is Jalen Green. He'll plant with this foot this way, and then his block foot goes this way, and the toes are pointed in, which makes the knees go in. And if you look at it from a certain angle, it's like, oh, that's such big knee valgus. It's actually no knee valgus at all. The knee valgus is all about how the femur aligns with the tibia, and in a situation like that, they're perfectly aligned. The feet are relatively straightforward, and we're still getting that hip internal rotation. So this is true knee valgus. Not only is it knee valgus, so sometimes you see a true knee valgus on the concentric portion, like a natural pro dunker. We've talked about this before, like a Chris Staples. When they load from a standing position, when he's loading, the knee stays over the foot. And then in the last part of the amortization or the early concentric when he's going up, the knees start to dive in. And so there's a little bit of knee valgus, but one, he's super healthy in his mid-30s and killing it still. This person probably does this every day and they're still healthy. But the point I was making was Chris is doing it on the concentric. Injuries happen at peak braking force. So when I'm loading, if I'm loading for a cut and this happens, then I'm in trouble. If I'm landing from a jump like this and it happens, it's going to be really high knee valgus moments. But it's so awesome to see that people can do this. There's a new paper that is basically like dismissing knee valgus as a predictor of injury. You can't just look at somebody jump and if they have knee valgus, assume that that's how they do everything, right? We see this all the time. Michael Jordan, knees come in on a jump shot, but when he goes to make a cut, it does not happen. When he's landing from a dunk, it does not happen. So a lot of people assume the nervous system is the nervous system. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's just not true. You could have valgus in a jump and great mechanics elsewhere. But it's so cool to see somebody like this who literally probably does this every day. And this is probably the most knee valgus I've ever seen, especially on a pogo jump, right? Pogo jumps, that much valgus is incredible. Look at that. Look at that knee valgus. His knees are just made out of rubber bands. The fact that he can just stay healthy and wow. This guy, a little longer ground contact time, a little longer ground, but he's still springy. Ooh. He got the knee bend in the air, knee flexion in the air. This guy is also little knee valgus, big pronator. Ooh, look at that. Inside of the foot, the right foot is actually pointed out, and he internally rotates that right side. So the right knee drops in, the toes going out, and that's just how he's creating torque, and that's how he gets his elastic energy. That is pretty impressive, and they stay healthy. So it's not that we're chasing this. Don't look at that and go, man, that person is super elastic with those mechanics. I got to try to do that. It's more so if this is what you naturally do. And a lot of the natural jumpers, the pro dunkers who don't do a lot of lifting and they just go out and dunk, majority of the time you're going to see them take on somewhat of this strategy where they're loading through that internal rotation. They're creating all that torque, and then they release it with external rotation along with extension, obviously. You don't chase it. But if this is your natural strategy, don't be discouraged and don't think like, oh, I just got to do a bunch of glute medius strengthening. So for the people who do create torque like this on a standing vertical jump, and you're pain-free and you're jumping out the gym, there might not be something wrong with you. It might just be how you naturally jump. Just like these guys have not been taught by coaches to do a certain something. They're not influenced by their training. This is just how they naturally jump based on their structure and their movement experiences. So again, we're not teaching you to go try to be more valgus or to even try internal rotation. This is something that just is going to happen naturally for some people. Until next time, I'm out.